Howdy folks, I'm laughing West Siberian lemming, largely looming over little ladybugs.
I'm Amber.
And they're so little. They're tiny ladybugs, just teensy tiny ladybugs, and they're everywhere. They've swarmed us, covering every square inch. It's a nightmare. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. Can you believe it? It's already the end of another month. For more information, please see the end of the video. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Embarrassing My Boyfriend After He Kept Making Jokes at My Expense? I'm a 23-year-old female and I have been dating my boyfriend, a 26-year-old male, for almost a year. He is farming? He is funny, charming, and generally a great guy. But lately, he's developed a habit of making jokes about me in front of his friends. At first, it was small things like teasing me about how long I take to get ready or how I can't cook. I laughed it off because I don't really take myself too seriously. But then it escalated. He started making comments about my job. I work in marketing and he calls it playing on Instagram all day. And my intelligence, joking that I get by on my looks. His friends always laugh and I just awkwardly smile, but it's just been bothering me. I've told him in private that it makes me uncomfortable, but he brushes it off and says that I'm being too sensitive. Well, last weekend we were at a bar with his friends and he made a joke about how I tried to change a tire once and almost called 911. It was embarrassing because it wasn't even true. I was just watching a YouTube video to make sure that I did it right. His friends laughed and I snapped. I said, "Oh, I could make jokes about you too, but I respect you too much to embarrass you in front of your friends." The mood shifted immediately. His friends went silent, and my boyfriend got super defensive, saying that I ruined the vibe. On the way home, he was furious, calling me immature and saying that I embarrassed him. He even said that guys joke with their girls all the time. You're the only one who can't take it. In the heat of the moment, I snapped and I told him that I was done being the butt end of his jokes. And now he barely is speaking to me. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, what he is doing is not funny. It's cruel. We've said it many times on this channel, but jokes should be funny to everyone.
Yeah.
He's just punching down.
Yeah.
And if it's uncomfortable for him to be called out, then maybe he should think about what he's been doing.
Yeah, there's an episode of SpongeBob like this. Mm-hmm. What's that one called?
Squirrel jokes.
Squirrel jokes. I suggest that OP's boyfriend watch Squirrel's jokes because I think that one takes away a good moral. The moral is that you can make fun of yourself, but you can't constantly make fun of someone else and target them and punch down at them, essentially, and expect them to be happy about it.
Yeah, well, that one's actually brilliant because Sandy leans into, because, SpongeBob is making all these ridiculous stereotypes about squirrels, and so she leans into them to teach him a lesson, and, yeah.
Well, and what do you think of OP's reaction here, what they said?
I think that it was very measured and there are all kinds of routes that OP could have taken this that I would have still been fine with. But, I think she handled it very maturely and was like, well, I'm not going to make jokes about you like this because, it's not a nice thing to do or whatever. I don't remember her exact wording, but I think she took a very tactful approach.
Yeah, is this a classy approach or the classiest approach that she could have taken?
The only thing that I'm confused about is why is she still dating this guy? She's like, oh, he's so charming. It's like, if this is your definition of charming, I really, really think you need to meet some new people.
He's so charming. He makes fun of me all the time. It's great. What do you think about his statement that, all the other girls can... guys just joke around about the girls, and OP's the only one who can't take the jokes?
There's a big difference between joking with your partner one-on-one in mutual banter and, targeting her in front of a group of people. This is like in the SpongeBob thing where he had a whole audience of people he was making fun of Sandy in front of. And, everyone kind of bought into those ridiculous things that SpongeBob was saying. He's doing the exact same thing here to OP. He's insulting her intelligence. He's saying, oh, she only gets by on her looks. And you wonder too, how much truth does he feel there is to this?
Yeah, I mean, that's my problem here. It's in all jokes, maybe not every single joke, but in many, many jokes, there's always a grain of truth. And so it makes me wonder if he is jealous that he feels like she has too easy of a job, or if he doesn't really feel like she's pulling her weight in one way or another. And it just isn't a very good look.
No, and it just feels like he's using this as an excuse to air all his grievances and make fun of her for laughs with his bros.
Yeah, and it kind of has that same kind of feel as like the old ball and chain type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of old humor used to be like making fun of your spouse and stuff like that. And maybe that's what he's talking about here, but I just think that is in poor taste.
Well, it is, but even in those cases, it's usually like mutual too, whereas this is very one-sided.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Shkimi88 says, not the jerk, break up with him. He is putting you down for fun. It's cruel. And Full Pace 7666 says, definitely not the jerk. The dude has so little going on in his life that he has to straight up lie about you to his friends whenever they hang. Leave him already. And Mr. Austria 27 says, get a new boyfriend. This one is broken. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for leaving my wife at a restaurant after she insulted me? So my wife is a 31-year-old female and I'm a 30-year-old female, and we were at a restaurant to celebrate a big milestone in my career. I was talking about my career in voice acting, which I absolutely love, before she decided to insult me by saying, you should be a mime instead so no one has to hear you talking anymore. My wife always makes a lot of jokes like these, basically insulting me, which I usually don't pay too much attention to. This joke in particular really hurt me because I used to be very self-conscious about my voice due to being bullied for years about the way I used to speak, so this hit me really hard. She also knows that this was a very hard point in my life and that it was very hard for me to get past it. After she said this, I just said, "Are you serious?" before standing up and abruptly walking away. I didn't tell her where I was going, but I drove to my studio and have been here for the past few hours. She has been blowing up my phone with calls and messages about leaving her at the restaurant to pay the bill. It was an expensive restaurant and I usually pay for our outings as I make more money. And for leaving her stranded as I took the car when I left. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting, as my wife says that this is just her sense of humor and I need to stop being a snowflake, but she is blowing up my phone, calling me immature for even leaving over a joke. Am I the jerk for leaving her at the restaurant? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. This is not a joke. Again, she is punching down. She is using OP's insecurities to make her feel more insecure.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
I mean, the thing that kind of really bothers me about this is exactly what you said here, is that she's using OP's, like, insecurity, like, the thing that OP had problems with in the past to basically, like, turn the screws on her, right? And I don't think that's a good partner, right?
No.
And she's complaining that OP left her at the restaurant. Do you think it was right for OP to leave them at the restaurant to pay for the bill?
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, I'm not going to sit around and have a meal with someone who is insulting me and mocking me for something I'm self-conscious over.
Yeah, I mean, talk about biting the hand that feeds you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, this is literally the definition of biting the hand that feeds you. Like, OP is paying for the food at the restaurant, driving them to this place, and now they're upset that they don't have transportation. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, don't have transportation and I now have to pay for this meal.
Yeah, well, OP, take it a step farther and make this a thing of the past. It doesn't sound like she respects you. It sounds like she's just kind of maybe mooching off OP.
It sounds like resentment.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this story and the last one have a lot in common in that respect. It just kind of feels like she resents OP for her career. Maybe OP is like, making a lot of money for something that she perceives as like not a lot of hard work.
Yeah, well, it could very well be, but she's not being a good or supportive partner,
No.
and OP deserves someone who will respect them and not bully them.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Financial Egg 1652 says, I would get totally fed up with your ridiculous voice acting. She's had enough of it. Knock it off. Save it for the Amdram class. Loser. And OP replies, my voice acting pays our bills and supports her lifestyle. If I knock it off, we would be homeless. That's a very rude comment.
It was.
And Elf Ant says, does she even like you? It's not a joke if no one is laughing. And OP replies, I would like to think so, because we have been married for almost 5 years. She never used to make jokes like this before, so I'm not really sure what happened. What do you feel about that comment?
I mean, I think, there's a couple possibilities. One is that she has always been this way and like was waiting until OP was comfortable in the relationship, because there are people who are emotionally abusive who won't show that at first, or it could be that OP's career has been taking off. It sounds like OP's just hit another career milestone,
Yeah.
and now she's feeling insecure and jealous and wants to punch OP down.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really telling that this happened to celebrate OP's career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is something, I think it's showing a lot of resentment. And I think that if there isn't a pattern of this verbal abuse, then it would be a good idea for OP and their partner to go into therapy to kind of talk about this stuff. But if OP kind of reflects and finds out, really that this isn't the first and it's not the last time that she's just tearing OP down, then it's probably not worth salvaging the relationship. But it should
Mm-hmm.
be something that they reflect deeply on before making any decisions.
Yeah.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Boyfriend to Act More Polite in a Fancy Restaurant? A bit of quick context. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a little while, but we live in different cities. We need to pay for a train and bus to visit each other. This past visit, my boyfriend was really insistent that we go to this extra fancy restaurant for a date. This was something that we discussed before, but weren't able to afford at the time and put it off. I found a super nice place and asked him to check it out, then booked a reservation when he said that he liked it. On to the actual story. Day of, my boyfriend's train arrives a little late, so we don't have time to go home before our date. This meant that my boyfriend had to bring his backpack of clothes and essentials that he didn't have at my place, and into the restaurant. The place was packed when we got there. We were seated, and then we started chatting. My boyfriend started to tell a story about a coworker that he really disliked. He started raising his voice and was really loudly cursing, calling his coworker a bunch of inappropriate things. I noticed some others stopping their conversation and looking at us. I asked him if he could lower his voice and avoid swearing because we were in an expensive, busy place. He said, I don't care what other people think about me. I explained that I actually did care a bit, and I felt like we should shift the conversation for now. He apologized and changed the subject. But eventually, each conversation turned him into a loudly swearing, talking about intimate times or illicit substances or some personal stuff. I asked to change the subject around 3 or 4 times until he finally got offended. He then mumbled about wanting to get something. He took his bag out from the corner where we had tucked it in and started unpacking everything. He put his clothes, socks, and toiletries on the table that we were eating at. I panicked. I started asking him to stop or to take the bag into the bathroom if he needed to unpack. He insisted again that nobody cared but me, and then repacked anyways. The breaking point was when the waiter came back with drink refills and said that we could make things fun again, and unzipped the front of his bag and pulled out some vodka. I freaked out and I told him to put that away, asking why in the world he would do that. He was confused, so I told him that a lot of places don't allow you to bring in your own liquor and they'll charge you a huge fee or kick you out. He insisted again that nobody cared and just to ignore him, and that he would use it for his own drinks. I got upset and said that there was no way I would babysit him drunk or get charged. The rest of the meal was awkward and quiet after that. Afterwards, my boyfriend said that I made him feel stupid and was scolding him like a baby. It was obvious that I felt embarrassed by him. Essentially, this thing that we wanted to do for so long, I had ruined. I felt horrible that this hurt his feelings. I'm worried that I was a total jerk and that I really did ruin our plan. I'm torn because I still think that you're supposed to be more polite in a place like that, but I don't want to assume that I'm in the right, and I need some outside perspectives. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. It seems like his behavior was completely inappropriate. And not even just for that particular restaurant. Like, some of that behavior wouldn't be appropriate at McDonald's, you know?
Yeah, unpacking toiletries in particular, right?
Well, and whipping out vodka.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I mean,
that
certainly.
was the biggest one of all of them.
Well, and that could actually get the restaurant in trouble or even the
Mm-hmm.
waiter in trouble, and that's not good. I mean, because there
Yeah.
are laws on the books in a lot of places about alcohol and
Right. Yeah.
stuff like that.
There are. And, like, you have to, like, ID everyone before they can drink alcohol at the establishment. And that's
Hmm.
part of why you can't bring in your own alcohol and why there are penalties and fines.
Yeah.
Or not fines, but penalties and, like, well, I guess, yeah, fines sometimes.
Yeah. So I think that he was an extremely rude individual, and I think that he really owes OP an apology. Do you think that this was kind of planned out on his part, like to some degree?
I wonder, like, I don't know, but like, I can't imagine someone just like wanting to go to a fancy restaurant and having so little awareness. Like, I can't say for sure, but it does seem very sus.
It does feel sus. I'm not sure if it's malice or if it's just kind of him being inconsiderate and not really understanding the protocol for a place like this. But I mean, it seems odd that they would talk about going to a fancy restaurant and him wanting to go to a fancy restaurant and then, doing this kinds of stuff where you might get them kicked out or blacklisted or any number of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't blame OP for being upset here because I think that this is, oh, even if this had just been him like, talking loud or something like that, that would have been one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he's combined all of these different non polite
Mm-hmm.
things really pushes it over the top for me.
Well, the thing is, like, a restaurant experience is something, for everyone in the restaurant, not just you.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are paying a lot of money to be here and to enjoy themselves. And so, it's not the same as eating dinner at your dinner table at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it really, it seems like he was not being a good guest whatsoever.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Paparoni42 says, not the jerk. Your boyfriend ruined the evening, not you. If you want to be able to go to a fine dining establishment in the future with your partner, you need a new partner. In fact, if you care about not being a rude person in public, you need a new partner. This guy simply does not care and probably never will. And Tight Jaguar 3881 says, he has no manners and cannot read the room. If you do not know how to behave in a situation, see what others are doing, know you should break up with him. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the first time golfer bring his zany children to the putting green?
Oh, he probably brought his children to the putting green because he wanted to use them to like get out of sand traps and or fish out the balls from the lake and stuff like that. I mean, like I know like if I were a parent and I had children and I brought them to the golf course, retrieving my lost golf balls would be the top priority.
Because he thought his friend said to bring his own goofballs.
Uh, I mean, that's not too bad. That's actually a good one. And that if I'll remind you, is one that Amber came up with on her own.
And it's International Goof Off Day.
Oh, very nice. I guess it's not International Get Your Children to Retrieve Your Golf Balls Day.
No, I haven't seen that one on the calendar yet.
And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, see this chart right here. And it looks like right now it's going to be at 10 o'clock p.m. UTC for anyone who isn't on Eastern time, right? Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on being a rude person.
Try to avoid being rude as much as possible. Like, don't insult your partner, and that's not a very nice thing to do at all.
Yeah, don't be rude. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!